Good morning, everybody. Very excited. It seems to have gotten all those technical issues ironed out between last week and this week. So as long as I basically don't touch anything that has to do with technology, we should be good. Which kind of works out because today we're starting a brand new project. So we finished our foam shield last week, which was super fun. I even have it hanging in my studio now. So today we're going to do some learning together. Um, I have been working on some prototypes for my potion bottle and trying to come up with some different ideas on how to make it better, how to make the lights last longer, whether or not we want to do things that plug in or bigger batteries or all sorts of different stuff. So, what we've been doing right now is different color treatments because all of these other light options are white lights. And I really want colored lights or colored bottles with white lights inside. So, since the colored lights that we have currently have a short battery life, they last about 6 hours before you have to replace them. And so we're trying some different things. So the first thing is that I wanted to share with you. This is a Krylon glass spray paint. And as you can see, there's some of these little blemishes on there. They're little bubbles. And I'm not sure why they bubbled. It's my first time using the product. So it's either because there is a frosted treatment on the glass or it was too humid. And I thought maybe we had a cat visitor. So either way, what I'd like to do first is to clean off this bottle. So you can see there's already a spot where the paint is gone. So the first attempt was to use Mod Podge and food dye, mix them together, and you can see the results of that over on our TikTok. And so we put the Mod Podge and the food dye, mixed it together to make a blue color, stuck it in the oven to bake it so that it would dry nice and even. The problem with that method is, again, I put it on the outside because I'm still trying to see if we can make it okay to drink from these bottles. And I think the answer is no because of our lighting options. But with the Mod Podge and the food coloring on the outside, as soon as it gets wet, it just bleeds everywhere. Now, I hadn't sealed anything, and there are a lot of sealant options, but I was just looking to see what sort of my options were before I started sealing things and it being gone forever. So that was pretty easy. I just soaked it in water, and the color and the glue came right off. So this is a little more challenging because it is a paint. However, I wanted to show y'all one of my favorite mistake erasers that I keep in my shop at all times, and that is 100% pure acetone. Now, I get these from beauty supply stores. There may be other locations to get them, maybe a hobby shop, but beauty supply stores never let me down. So the trick is that the acetone is pretty corrosive. So I don't recommend using it on plastic unless you're trying to deform your plastic because it will melt the plastic. Acetone is one of the components in nail polish remover. So you could use a nail polish remover for a gentler removal, but usually when I'm looking to use acetone, I am looking to get a nice clean slate. So I wanted to show you how cool this is. Hi, Amberbella. So I want to show you how cool this is to be removing mistakes. And because I'm prototyping, I'm trying not to use up all of my base materials before I even get a chance to get to where I want to be, if that makes any kind of sense. So, because it's 100% pure acetone, gloves are highly recommended, especially if you're working with it a lot. So, got our glove. So, all I'm doing is I've got my acetone and I've got one of these cotton rounds. And you could use like a towel if you had a spare towel that you didn't mind ruining. So if you've got a shop towel where we've got an old towel that's stained or something, that would be good too, if you're looking for a little less waste. So I just put the acetone on the casting around, and then doing little small circles. And it's taking that paint right off. So, but leaving the frosted treatment of the original bottle behind, because this is what it looks like before. So I'm trying to get as close back to this as possible so I can have another testing surface without running through a bunch of product. So I'll show you on a spot that I haven't started on. And you see it takes very little to actually get this off. Now, this is, again, it's a spray paint. And so this is also something that you could potentially use if you were refinishing like a filing cabinet. We have a filing cabinet that we rescued from the side of the road that was an army green color, but we wanted it to be a nice bright red for our office. And so we used acetone to clean it off and then could spray directly on it. And it's even getting up, there were the little bubbles, just like that. So I want to show y'all acetone, super cool, very careful, use gloves. It also does have a bit of an odor, so if you're sensitive to odors, make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. So that was that super exciting thing. But what I really want to work on today with y'all is learning how to make a mold. So I have never made a mold before. And as part of my prototyping process, what I want to do is see if I can cast these bottles. 2, 3 reasons. Some reasons. First reason is making it out of resin means it's a plastic, which means it may be less likely to shatter as soon as it hits the floor. Number 2, it will be lighter, which means it'll be easier to carry and easier for me to ship it. And also, number 3, we can add color to the resin and can make the whole piece a color instead of adding the color later. And resin does cure food safe adjacent. I will not call it food safe, but using it as a water vessel or something like that would be acceptable. I wouldn't put it in a dishwasher anywhere where there's high heat because that might release some, if there are some impurities in the resin being used, that might be dangerous. But using it to carry water around a con, for example, was sort of my intent of where I wanted this project to go. Again, that may not be possible because of the lighting situation, but at least if we can cast it and we can mix the color into the casting, then that's one less step for me to do or have to worry about painting and sealing and that sort of thing. And then it does make it something truly unique because it will be 100% handmade. So that's sort of where we are with that. So we need a couple of things before we can start casting, and that is we need the mold first. So today we've got some Smooth On. And this is the Plastipaste 2. So I'm going to start with that. Make sure that it's the right thing that I got, because I think I got all the right things. There are a lot of pieces and a lot of parts to this process, so we're all going to learn it together. It'll be lots of fun. All right. So this may not be what we're looking for right now. Let's see. So this is the paste, fiber resin. Okay. Hey, Studio Johnny Q. I love to have a lurker. This is supposed to be chill, so I'm perfectly happy just talking to myself, which is just a normal Thursday for me. So I am going to quickly check and make sure that we are using the right thing. Because I don't want to get in there and get super excited and then I may not have even bought the right thing. So I guess we'll find out. Yeah. Normal Thursdays are the best Thursdays. Okay. All right. Liquid dissolve. Did I not get the one thing I needed? That sounds about right for me. Okay. So I know how to work with resin already because I've done it before. So let's see. This is a Smooth Cast 300. What say you? Nope. It says Umu 30. I may not have what I need to do the thing I was thinking about doing today. So, guess we'll find out. Okay. This is a brushable silicone rubber. I guess we could do that. Okay. So instead of making a mold today, I did look at the punished props tutorials that are on YouTube, and that's what I'm sort of basing it off of. That's what I'm basing all of these products off of. So I do recommend. They're very easy to understand. We'll see if I can actually apply anything that I have learned or forgotten. All right, so this is a brushable silicone mold. This is the Smooth Rebound 25. I think I did not get what I was actually looking for to make the molds. So I'll do some more research on that. And we'll get that another time. But at least with the brush on stuff, that we can do. All right, so Rebound 25. Mix ratio 1A to 1B by volume or weight. To brush on silicone mold rubber that holds a vertical surface. Pot life is 20 minutes, which means we have 20 minutes to work with it before it starts becoming difficult to use and valuable to use. I know when you're working with resin that if you let it sit for so long that it gets hot and you don't any sort of plastic container you work with. I definitely didn't almost set my trash on fire because it got so hot. Yeah. This is why I'm here, to make these weird mistakes so that you don't have to make weird mistakes and set things on fire. Unless that's your purpose. Unless that's what you intend to do. So, pot life is 20 minutes. Cure time is 6 hours. Store and use. Okay. All right, so part A is in the yellow container, and part B is in the blue container. All right, and we still have our gloves, which are always important for stuff like this. And let's double check. I am literally just opening these right now. They've been sitting unopened for the last week, just waiting for us to dive in and see what we're doing. Or figure out that we don't know what we're doing. All right. Yep, again, well-ventilated area. This says room-size ventilation, so don't do it in your closet, and you should be okay. Opening windows, if that's an option for you, is always a good idea when you're working with any kind of chemicals. We've got a pretty decent sized room here in the studio, so it should be okay. All right. Wear vinyl gloves. Latex gloves will inhibit the cure of the rubber. I recommend vinyl gloves anyway, mostly because like latex allergies are a thing, and vinyl gloves are just as easy to find now. They weren't a couple of years ago, but it's exciting to see that you can even get them in super cool black. So that's always a good time. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Release agent is not necessary. You don't need a scale. Okay. and it has to be applied in layers. All right, so if I remember correctly, first thing I'm going to grab a couple of plastic cups. I have this big bag of plastic cups to use for just such projects. The guys on the video used medical cups that had measuring marks on them. We're going to be a little less accurate for our first go around here. All right. So this is what I want to do my cast on. And I did also, because this is not what I was expecting to do today, but another option for if we're doing molds that you pour the resin into where you build it and instead of putting it on top is we actually have a bag of Legos. So the idea is using Legos to keep things contained because then you can peel the Legos away, wash them off, and use them again. So before we start with this, I'm going to take some Legos here and I'm going to take my hot glue gun because it will keep the plastic on my glass. I'm using one of my glass cutting boards that I use when I'm working with hot items. So what I'm going to do is glue my Legos onto the glass cutting board so that it's got a surface to sit on, and also so that it will be able to be taken apart later. Yes, good morning. We are going to try casting. We'll see how it goes. This is the first time for me, at least. So if anybody has any fancy tips, I apparently didn't get the right casting to make my mold in the way I was intending. But you work with what you got, right? Which is, I feel like my artistic life in general is just working with whatever is around. I feel like some sort of dumpster diving artist that just take things that are nearby and make it into something else. Very scrappy. Makes me feel scrappy. So I'm gonna let my hot glue gun heat up, and we'll go ahead and start building us a little house. And I want to build it around my bottle. And then we can glue that down. And this is a trick that I stole from the people who make minis at home or terrain. That they are the ones that recommended using Legos. And I do not remember where I bought this bag of... Yes, they are Legos. Don't remember where this bag of Legos came from, but as you can tell, it's really boring colors, which is fine. Okay. You didn't know it was going to be a Lego morning, did you? I mean, every morning probably should be a Lego morning, but... So I'm going to use, because I have it, my measurement mat that I leave on my sewing table. So each of these squares is an inch, thereabouts. So I can look at my bottle and see that it is, looks like probably 3¼ down here at the bottom. So we will build out 4 inches. And because we're using this, we don't have to leave the bottle in there to try and build around it, if that makes any kind of sense. No, that's going to be too small. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. This should do it. There we go. All right. And it's okay if it's a little bit bigger than we originally intended, because this is designed to catch any of the mold that sort of spills off the sides. Because it's going to, because we're brushing it on. Let's see. We need to go out one more brick. And of course, because we are Americans, I'm an American, and like to have weird units of measurement, that measuring by brick width instead of using real units like inches or centimeters is just something that we do. We do like to measure potholes in washing machine sizes. Because why not? Okay. So, for this bottle, it's 3 long ways bricks and 1 brick rotated 90 degrees to make a corner. Okay. Should also check to see if we maybe have some of that molding from the previous terrain building project. But I didn't think about that, so that is a project for future gen. Oops. Okay. Here we go. There is our house for our bottle. Now, I think I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because it is touching where the bottle comes out and then goes back in. And I want to make sure that we've got plenty of room for our, to get in there with our casting and everything else. So, this is why we learn and why we try things. So I am going to expand this another block. And then let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's probably good. Okay. I hope everybody is having a lovely morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. Yeah. There we go. All right. So now we've got ourselves a little boundary. So what's going to happen is we're going to use the brush on silicone, and it will silicone. I forget. And it's gonna gravity's gonna take over, right? So there will be some pooling at the bottom is what basically is going to happen. So that's why we built ourselves a little container. So now I'm going to take my hot glue, because now it's nice and heated up. And I'm going to real quick this side and see if this works. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is take this apart just a little bit so I can sort of glue down some of the areas. It's like a really weird puzzle. There we go. And that should be okay. So I'm just trying to make sure that everything stays in place. So I've glued 3 sides down. This side's not going anywhere because the other 3 are already done. So that should be good. We'll unplug our glue gun, mostly so I don't forget. All right. So the next step is we're going to mix up this Rebound 25 and see what we can do. And I am going to get a foam brush. All of my chip brushes are upstairs because we're repainting the kitchen. So I'm going to use one of these ones to brush on. Now, I did get some Thivex, which is a thickener. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to start with just using the Rebound by itself, since this is our first test and our first experiment. So, right. They told y'all, just literally opened it right now. Just getting my trash can closer just in case. Right? So this is what the part A looks like. It's a little bit milky in there. And it does say that we need to stir it before we start. So I'll go ahead and put the cap on this one for now. And we'll go ahead and take off the silver, the protective piece of our part B before we get started. This is also practice for another project that I'm working on. I'm working on making a positive mold out of Sculpey for Red Bull from The Last Unicorn. And my intent is, once I finish the positive mold, to make a negative mold of it, where you basically what we're doing now, and then to cast it so that my customer can use it basically as a purse. Think of like a Halloween, one of those plastic Halloween buckets, except with a top, is sort of what I'm going for. So this is a great way to learn how to do this technique and without having to damage my one-of-a-kind positive mold. So this is part B. It's sort of this pinkish kind of color. So that is good. Yeah, shaking is not going to help. Definitely a stir situation. All right, I got me a little wooden dowel here for stirring. It's because I don't typically keep paint sticks in the sewing studio or paint stirrers. So now we've got our part A and part B stirring sticks. There are many things happening on my table right now. There we go. All right, so we're going to take our part A, we're going to stir it up, and then pour it into one of our plastic cups. It's very thick. Goopy is the best word I have for it right now. Viscous? Viscous. That is the actual, like, technical word for it. All right. It looks almost like a frosting. Don't hold that too high, sorry. This is sort of what we're working with right now. Okay. So let's go ahead and give that a little pour on screen for the folks at home. And that's probably more than I need, but so I poured, very scientific, that much. All right. So go ahead and put our stirring stick in the trash so I don't accidentally stir part B with part A stirring stick. It's also why I got my drink with a lid and a straw, so I don't get myself mixed up and reach for champagne water, which we're not going to do this morning, but the concept I feel. All right. So now we're going to stir up our part B. It is a little less thick than part A, but stirs a lot easier. Okay. We're going to pour the same amount of part B that we did of part A. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So we're going to put our lids back onto things to keep things fresh. So we've got our two parts, part A and part B. Part B is the pink one again. And so we should now be able to just mix them together. Just want to make sure there wasn't anything else extra before we start this. So I'll pull back out one of my sticks. All right, here we go. Here's theory. It looks very sticky. I'm not going to touch it, but it reminds me a lot of like icing. Oops, it's on the table. Definitely have some sort of surface down so you don't get stuff all over your kitchen table. All right. So that's our part B on top of part A, and we will mix it. It's definitely a layered thing right now, so make sure that it mixes nice and combined. I clearly should have eaten more before this stream because now I'm just hungry. Everything looks like food. Alright, we still have some light bits here on the side, but at least with the clear cup we can see what's happening. My arms are getting a workout. It's much thicker than expected. Also, resin is a lot thinner. It's not as thick, so I'm used to mixing resin. Also, probably a bigger stirring, like an actual paint stick, would be better. But here we are. Okay. Alright, that's looking pretty. There's still a little bit. I'm trying to get the color consistent throughout. It's also weird because it's not warm. So when you mix resin, it starts an exothermic reaction where you can feel it start to heat up as you're working with it. And this has had no temperature change at all. All right, I think that will, oh, there was a nice big bubble there. All right, so just gonna start. So this is supposed to be thin layers. We'll also see how well this does with glass. It'll be all sorts of fun experiments for everybody involved. I didn't do anything to treat this glass. I was trying to drill a hole in it, and I got the glass sphere real bad. So it's got almost a hole in it. Just trying to make sure that I am covering the whole surface with my first sort of pass. And if this works, then you only have to make your mold one time, and then you can cast out of your mold. It does eventually, apparently, start to degrade, but I'll be very excited if this works. Okay, so that looks like we've got our first brush on there. I'm going to go for the top. So my idea, because of course I can't do anything simple, is to do what's called a slush casting. So once we have a mold, then using the resin will basically go around the on the outsides because I want it to be hollow. But that is probably something that's 2 or 3 streams away from getting there. Okay. I'm going to go around the top here. Okay. Just trying to make sure I get into all of these little, I mean, there aren't really a lot of crevices on this bottle, but I want to make sure that I get underneath and get layers all over the place. All right, so I probably could have waited to do the top until I'd done a couple of layers on the body of the bottle, but what are you gonna do? All right, so that looks like the first one is so let's go in with a second layer. Yeah. Yeah, that's the impression that I get. Apparently, you can use multiple different types of molds to, or mold creation methods to sort of make your mold. And the Punished Prop people were using this, and then I think they sort of built it out so that it was a square. So we'll see if this is a failed attempt or not. And thanks for the follow, Nerd Holla. I appreciate it. This is my first time making a mold, so we'll see how it goes. So today we are trying to make a mold for a glass bottle so that I can cast it in resin and in colored resin. And because I got the wrong kind or didn't get all the pieces I thought I did, we are making it as a brush-on mold instead of a traditional mold where you pour it in around the object. Oh, that's awesome. Well, please don't laugh too hard when, you know, I make all the mistakes. I literally just opened these materials 20 minutes ago. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I'm starting to hit the sides of the thing, but that's okay. I don't know if y'all can see that little bump right there. There we go. That is where I tried to drill a hole in the glass, and I was using my Dremel on a low speed and stopping very frequently to use a sponge to add water to lubricate and to get rid of all the tiny glass shards. And after an hour, I said maybe drilling glass was not for me and got a little bit scared. I call it the glass fear. All right, so this is our second coat here. Do you see there may be some sort of physics problem happening? And that is, I'm going to have to cut it to get my glass bottle out. Yeah, so I am, yes, brushable silicone rubber, Rebound 25 is what we're using right now, because I apparently did not purchase the thing that I thought I purchased. So, here we go. Got a little spot right there. Yes, so much science, so much learning. That is my favorite thing, is to learn new things and learn new techniques. Always trying to figure out ways to make things better, and sometimes to make things more efficient or faster. I'm also a fan of that. All right. So it looks like now that we have brushed on a couple of layers, we got 2 layers on there now. So I'm gonna go for broke, and we're gonna be real fancy, and we're just gonna pour it. And see what we can do. Because we are trying to make this thick so that we can do something with putting resin in it later. So, seems like letting gravity do some of the work here. And I thought I had made too much, but I probably haven't made enough. Which is okay, we have plenty of cups. Oops. And I think what I'll probably do is, because this only has a 20-minute pot life, that we'll work with what we've got and then mix up some additional batches, possibly off stream. Just so y'all can see this, because it's looking pretty cool that it's slowly going down the sides of the bottle there. Very like I don't know, like Wicked Stepmother apple, poisoned apple that's got like the drippy bits on it. That is the scientific word, by the way. Drippy bits. All right. And what this is also doing is, because it's sort of pooling at the bottom there, that it will give us a flat kind of area. And the thing to keep in mind is we're sort of working in reverse. So we want the inside to be nice and smooth, but the outside can be kind of weird. Yeah, yeah, you never have enough material. You always have to go out and buy more. You always have to mix more. This is why I don't like mixing paint. It stresses me out to no end because I never get the same color twice. Like, I should have made my little house bigger because I can't get in there with my brush to get these sides. So we're going to have to just pour around and have it fill in. But it is doing a super cool job of sticking close to the other silicone that we already poured. So let's go ahead and use the last of this. Yeah, it's getting really, really thick, and definitely the integrity of the plastic cup. It's still not worn like resin is, but definitely making a mess. Yeah, go around the top here so we can get some extra coverage under the lip of the bottle. Because in my mind, it seemed like, oh, a bottle, that will be something that's easy. And I mean, definitely more so than this sculpture that I've got that I'm going to be casting later. Put some on the top here, just sort of finish it off. We'll see if any of this works out. And that is it. That is the last of the silicone that we had mixed up. So my plan is to let this sit and cure. It takes about 6 hours to cure. And then I have a metal piece on my belt and I keep hitting it and keep thinking that I've splashed myself with some sort of chemical. Yeah, so we will let it cure for 6 hours and then probably come back through and do another couple of layers. My plan now is to pour this this mixture into the base so it will fill in the bottom. I might build all the way up. I know that's not how this is intended to be used. Yep, that is there now. Cool. That this is supposed to be a like a pour on and a paint on as opposed to filling the thing. But I think that that's probably going to be the easiest way to handle it is to build up the sides of our little house so we can fill in the edges with the rest of our silicone. So I'll probably do that between now and next week. Next week, streaming will be on Wednesday morning instead of Thursday morning. Is that true? Hold on. There is a week where that's true. I don't know if it's this week. I can't remember my schedule. So there may not be a stream next week. I've got a work thing, a day job thing. So keep an eye. Follow us on Instagram. We're at GeekForge on Instagram, and we're on TikTok at Instagram. Everywhere else, we are the GeekForge on Twitter and on Facebook. You can join our mailing list if you go to thegeekforge.org, and we'll make a little banner on the Twitch for the scheduling for whether or not there's a stream next week. I'm so sorry, I can't remember right now. Yeah. So we do that. We still have our Pride Anarchy collection going on, which are Pride patches and stickers in various in the shape of the anarchy symbol in various colors for the various flags. And 15% of those profits are going to the Lost and Found Youth, which is an organization here in Atlanta, which helps homeless and youth, LGBTQ plus youth who need assistance. So we're going to be donating our proceeds to them at the end of the month, which we're very excited about. And yeah, we've got, you can come see me play Shadowrun on Tuesday nights at twitch.tv/Master of Rem. I think that we have stabilized the bus pass economy, but there's always something weird that we're doing. So come by and hang out. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Tuesday nights, and that's always a lot of fun. And just trying to think if there is anything else. So This is where we are right now with our drippies. Yes, very excited about Shadowrun for sure. Um, and yeah, so we'll build us up a bigger house and pour some more in. And next week, or whenever the next stream is, my plan is to break this out of the silicone mold and try to do a resin pour and try to do a slush cast, which may be difficult because it's going to be two pieces, but eh, eh, maybe not. Maybe that is the. I bet so. Sorry, you can see me making all the connections to do the two halves and then bring them together to dry. We'll see. We'll see what I can do or what I can ruin. Either way, it's going to be a good time. So I hope that you all have a great week and a great weekend. And yeah, that's all I have. So I will see you guys next time. And I hope that you have a great week. Okay, bye.